right, the doctor's in the house now. Text line is open for you if you want to text in any questions. He'll answer it on a future segment. May be able to get to it today. We'll see. Living and Practicing by Design with Dr. John Hayes. He joins us every Thursday at this time in studio. Dr. John Hayes is local. His practice is in Marshfield. For a better experience at the doctor's office, try Dr. John Hayes' new, highly personalized and affordable direct primary care practice. Find out more at drjohnhayesjr.com, drjohnhayesjr.com. And Dr. Hayes, good morning.
Hey, Rob, good morning to you.
How have you been?
I'm doing great.
Great to see you.
Yeah, same here.
It's great to have you back in studio. And so this is a topic we're going to bring up that this is a big one, microplastics danger and disease risks.
Yeah, okay. This is a big one, Rob, and it's not getting nearly the attention that it should. And so really the reason I wrote this article, we've talked about this here and there over the last several months regarding potential dangers of microplastics. But the issue is this. So there's so much plastic in the environment now, and one of the things that we've realized, I think for a long time, again, one of those things that's not well publicized is that plastics do not break down. The particles actually may get smaller and smaller and smaller over the years, but this is where some of the pathology or disease in humans and animals and fish, for a matter of fact, are actually starting to show up. So the issue is that if you look everywhere now, it's plastic. There's plastic bottles, there's plastic food containers, takeout food, microwave food, all over the store shelves.
Yeah, plastic seemed like a miracle thing for businesses. It certainly seemed like when they always said they went from glass or paper bags to plastic bags. I assume it must have been cheaper.
That I'm not 100% sure on that. I certainly understand how beneficial it is to preserve products and get more out to people, and I get all that stuff for sure, but it's really high time that we acknowledge it's an issue and we start to adopt some of the things that have been developed and to spur further development. This is just an awesome place for entrepreneurs to step in and bring us something that can really make a big change.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so I guess... So we're going to talk, because as you mentioned, I've heard a bunch of things, and there's so much, I think, out there that it gets confused. Someone was, I saw, and, I don't believe everything I see on the internet, so I don't know. Someone was saying, about plastics with laundry stuff, and then you wash it and it gets in your clothes, and you wear your clothes, and you sleep in the sheets. I mean, is that...
That's another issue. Synthetic clothing, which I happen to love over the years, now we're discovering that actually when we dry those clothes, it releases a bunch of microplastics into the air.
Oh, wonderful.
In fact, in some European countries now, you actually have to have filters on your dryer to take that stuff out of the air. So that's something we never knew. So I think we're going to see a big shift towards bamboo clothing back to cotton and that type of thing. I certainly know I'm going to make that shift, and I believe that a lot of us should. But the most significant danger right now, and the reason I brought this up this particular month, is plastic bottles. In the summertime especially, they're everywhere. Even if you're an athlete, you're outside, you're exercising, you're at an event, plastic bottles are everywhere. Plastic bottles, by and large, are the number one danger, hands down. When you look at the amount of particles that can come from just drinking out of a plastic bottle, it's mind-blowing compared to, for example, having, a cup of coffee that may be in a plastic-lined cup, that type of thing.
Yep.
So that's one of the biggest risks, and I tell people it's really important to acknowledge that, and whenever you don't have to use plastic bottles, don't.
Yeah.
Again, this is someplace for people to really start to step up and provide us. I think for now, you go back to glass wherever you possibly can and start to insist upon it where you dine, where you shop, and so on. The other issue is this time of year is that if you expose plastics to heat, like plastic bottles in the sun, it's particularly dangerous. You can release all these dangerous chemicals into the water that you're drinking. You think you're helping yourself out, and you may be doing yourself some harm. Now, like everything, there's a wide degree of susceptibility. It's now being shown that microplastics may be inducing neurologic diseases. One of the most significant concerns for me as a physician is they're now starting to show up in surgical patients as inside blood clots. And it seems to be if you already have a predisposition like cardiovascular disease, have had a heart attack, a significant vascular disease, etc., you may be more prone to blood clots with accumulation of microplastics.
So our body is not currently designed to filter out microplastics.
No, and I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any live body that is actually.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a huge issue.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, if we don't see it, maybe we don't think about it. And, you just think that, okay, well, what's a little bit of microplastic going to do to me, doctor, right?
Well, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's exactly how we do think because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think number one is awareness, and number two is, make the changes in your life and for your family now. The other thing to realize is there are other things you can do, like in the kitchen. Get rid of the plastic cutting boards.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Get rid of plastic cutting boards. Get rid of plastic or synthetic silicone-like utensils. Just get rid of them because they just add more potentially to our food in larger particles than we ever thought.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Usually around the office there's always a box of plastic forks or spoons.
Yeah, that's different though.
Okay.
When you're actually using like a plastic,
I'm not heating it.
Well,
yeah.
Exactly. That's the other thing that I mentioned. Like plastic cutting boards, for example, you can potentially release plastic particles into your food. Yeah,
because you're right. Okay, yeah, you're using the knife on there, and I mean, I do have some wooden, but you're right. I guess I don't know whether we got it as a gift or whatever, but there's a bunch of plastic ones, and you use it for meat or vegetables. So you're saying, I guess every time you cut it up,
it's a potential danger. So
plastics could be released. I mean,
yep. I mean, that's the the first place in the household to start.
All right. So this I mean, I guess you could use the word toxic. Right?
Yes, you can use toxic because there's all other potential interactions with hormones, potentially inducing other diseases. One of the things that really concerns me, because I see a lot of patients with neurologic disease, is there may be some significant risk for patients regarding development of neurologic diseases and worsening of neurologic diseases, but that is really just beginning to be understood.
Oh, yeah. I did hear something, someone said endocrine system. Is that
correct?
Is that what that is?
Hormone disruption.
Okay. So it does play with that?
It can, especially when plastics are heated, when they're used, for food products, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I do encourage anybody who's listening, if you want to learn more, definitely go to the blog that we published on this earlier this week.
Yeah, it's drjohnhayesjr.com. You can read the blog on there. And you're right. You think about all the plastic cups, and I guess with a lot of people now that I'm thinking about it, they really love the iced coffee, and I'm pretty sure that's always plastic you're usually given, right?
Correct.
For the iced coffee.
Correct.
Which I guess, maybe it's not super warm, but I guess it could still break down even if it's cold.
Yes. The good news is there are starting to show some alternatives. For example, now you can actually buy what are called corn plastics. They're plastics that are designed, or they're not plastics. They're substances that look and feel like plastics that are designed to break down.
Yeah.
I would have to do a deep dive into what the actual composition is, but it looks like they've got some significant potential to lower health risks.
So I guess the thing is, you may not know where the plastic is coming from always, but you're saying the obvious ones are the ones to start with first.
Yeah, get rid of them now.
Okay. So that would be, I guess you're saying about the bottles.
Yeah, plastic bottles, plastic food containers, absolutely positively number one.
All right, switch those out. And again, because these will have impacts on your health, and I guess at this point, as you said, we're starting to see some of the results of what has happened from years of this.
Correct.
Okay. And some people are also mentioning as well, what was it, the plastic and other materials from the wind turbine that...
the fiberglass shards and all.
Yeah, they were saying that gets into little bits too.
It does, and it's frightening. I know what happened in Nantucket this past week, but I also read that in New Jersey, they're shutting down the wind farms. Within a couple of years. Yep, going.
Wow. Okay.
Another politically correct bad idea.
Okay. Well, yeah. So more times where things seem like a good idea at the time, maybe there are long-term risks that sometimes we don't see, or some of us don't see, or we're not told about.
Exactly. That's the real part right there.
Yeah. All right. Microplastics, dangers, and disease risks, though. What can you do in your life? The steps you should take. You can read the blog, and Dr. John Hayes has more, and it's online at, let's see, go to your website. It's drjohnhayesjr.com, drjohnhayesjr.com. On the text line, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. And let's see, we'll have Lisa in Marshfield wants to ask a question. This might be one you can answer, Doctor, because you were talking about the plastic cutting boards. What does Dr. Hayes recommend cutting meat on? Because some people were concerned about cutting it on the wood, I remember, because
how
there could
the
be
wood
bacteria.
is finished? Yeah.
So
right.
what would be a way to cut meat if you can't use the plastic?
So a hardwood is probably the safest. Again, there's concerns over finish and that type of thing. That's a really good question. I don't know if there's anything safer out there. That's a really good one. It's a good one to explore. I know there were concerns, but the biggest thing with wood in the past was not so much ingesting wood, because I don't think you ingest.
No, but wouldn't like the raw meat juices
exactly
or something?
Bacteria and that type of thing can grow and perpetuate on it. So the biggest thing is to make sure they're cleaned thoroughly after use.
Oh boy! All right. Well, there you go. There's probably somebody, an entrepreneur, that's probably already working on that. We'll just have to.
The work is underway, and like I said, it's just a phenomenal.
Kevin says try granite.
Well, yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can probably get a little piece of that or something.
Yeah, granite, ceramic,
a little slab
porcelain,
or something.
Absolutely,
that'd be good. All right, thanks for all the text messages. And Patty says, "What about reusable water bottles? Is there a reusable water bottle?
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel?
Yep.
All right, stainless steel.
Sure.
It's Patty in Middleborough. Thank you, Patty. A lot of good messages coming in this week, Dr. John Hayes.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
We love
good
it.
to hear.
All right, Dr. John Hayes, he's with us every Thursday at this time on WHD. His practice is in Marshfield. And again, you can call or text him at the office, 781-659-7989, 781-659-7989. Dr. John Hayes. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Rob.
All right, take care. We'll talk to him next Thursday on WHD.